Hi, everyone. Beth Barany here with How to Write the Future podcast. Today I'm sick, so no camera. All right, on to this week's episode. I want to let you know some of the topics that we've been covering on How to Write the Future for the last 4 years. I'm coming up on the 4th anniversary, so exciting. And there are 5 main topics that I have talked about and, of course, can continue to talk about. So if you have questions on these 5 topics, let me know. And of course, I accept questions on other topics as well. My podcast is really for fiction writers. It is for fiction writers who write science fiction, fantasy, anything that falls under the speculative fiction umbrella. I especially like genre mashups. Also, my stance is one of obstinate, can I say that again? Obstinate optimism, meaning I really believe that fiction and our creativity can be tools for good and can be tools that can reshape humanity. And there's some other core beliefs that I have. Writing craft is about meaning and the reader experience. I really don't teach rigid rules because language is evolving constantly, and it's all about choices about your villains, the story structure, or conflict, or character motivation. It's all in the service of aliveness, emotional resonance, clarity, and forward momentum. What I care about and what I want you to care about is helping the reader be pulled through the story. The other stance that I have is that world building is filtered through character. We only want to reveal what is important through your character's perception in a way that supports immersion and avoids info dumps. I've done a lot of episodes on world building. And really, culture and context belong in the foundation of your story. It's not just decoration. I don't care about adding more lore. What I care about is what your characters know and use and come from. That's culture. Thirdly, creative process. I love talking about creative process. I believe that sustainable creativity comes from trust, compassion, and small, doable steps. Really, my signature is around self-trust, being gentle with yourself around your messy first drafts, and practices that reduce shame or pressure on yourself. I treat mindset like a practical craft tool. How you write does affect what you can write. And in my mind, the sky's the limit. You can write in a lot of different ways if your heart desires. Which brings me to publishing and marketing. I have a heart-centered approach. A heart-centered approach that's values aligned, and that's what I encourage you to have your focus on for your marketing. I think that beats hustle every single time, at least for me and people like me. Marketing and the business side of being an author is part of the creative path, not something outside of it, but part of it. So the big question is, how can writers sell their books without selling their soul? And they can, because I think you can choose strategies that fit your strengths, build real relationships, and aim for long-term sustainability, not desperation. It's a whole other way of thinking about being in business, and I talk a lot about this in my Creative Entrepreneur Incubator programs. And I bring it all here too, as well. And lastly, about AI and other technology. I think we can be curious and ethical. I think we can use these tools without surrendering authorship. In fact, I don't think we want to surrender authorship. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes us human. We are not machines. I really don't take an all or nothing stance around AI. I really emphasize critical thinking, being aware of consent, being aware of rights, and really bringing your own human creativity and taking leadership. Don't cede your higher thinking skills to these machines. I really encourage writers to understand the landscape of the AI and other tools coming and to respond intentionally, not fearfully and not blindly, to really think about it for discernment. I thought I would tell you the big buckets that I talk about so you can ask me more questions about these. The best way to ask me a question is to email me from howtowritethefuture.com, and I will see your question. Also, you can @Beth Barany me on the socials. I'm on most of the socials, but really the best way is email. I could pull out some highlighted episodes that point to the things I listed here today, but there's over 200. So I invite you to explore the backlog. You can also see them all listed at howtowritethefuture.com. Or if you're looking for something specific, write me and ask me, and I'll help you find it. So that's it for this week, everyone. Write long and prosper.